Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I am Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Collectively, we are the three most loved office blokes in the world.
1, 2, and 3, yeah.
In no particular order. Daz, Mike, and Dave. In no particular order.
No, we don't do that. It's not a competition.
Although,
So someone tries to make it one.
oh, it's 3 most hated, you'd be top of the list, Dave.
Yeah, all right. I'll
yeah.
I'll rephrase that then.
Coming in at number 3, number 2, and number 1.
Hey?
Well then,
We're only joking.
still hurts. Right then, the top 10 most hated countries in the world.
I can't think of a country I hate. Oh yeah, I can.
I think it's more.
I can think of 2.
Wales.
That fucking just stay away from like the plague. I've been, and I just don't want to go ever again in my life.
Go on.
Saudi Arabia
Right.
and Egypt.
Yeah, really. I was going to say it's probably more. People will probably more go off the people and probably world events. I would guess as to maybe not necessarily the people there.
It depends which side of cultural events you fall on as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, a
course
lot
it
of
does.
people from certain countries are going to, like,
Love to go to Saudi.
Russians would probably say America. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of Middle Eastern countries
yeah.
would probably say, you know, UN countries and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you could hate a country in particular.
Try to go to Saudi and see if you.
I've grown up on stories of my dad in Saudi.
Yeah, wait till you wait in the queue to get in at the airport for like 50 hours.
Jesus.
And then when you get to the front, they go, no, with no excuse. You just go, whatever. I don't even want a beer anyway, mate.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you.
My dad fled to the border once because they tried to take his truck.
Oh, did
And it
it?
was one of them where it was a scam. It was like,
yeah.
we take your truck or you go to prison. And he was like, all right, just let me go and get my... So he drove 30 odd
Flawed
hours
it.
straight until they got to the border and
Really?
just crossed. Yeah.
Wow.
Madness. Let's find out then the top 10 most hated countries in the world. Let's do it.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and a list about the most hated countries on the planet. Yeah, people hate different countries. Several different organizations do different surveys on what country is the most hated or disliked on the planet. The Reputation Institute, Pew Research does this thing called Attitude Towards
North
Different
Korea's got
Countries.
number 1.
I looked at all the different surveys
yeah.
that I could find and I came up with a list of countries that most
If you go off world population and then you ask, like, because there's so many Chinese people, a lot of people in the Middle East, I think the States are going to come high up on this list.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because
Jealousy.
just because a lot of it's jealousy, but also that general perception of being the world police and things like that.
There's
that
always
a
a
lot
big
of
clash
countries
in the
think.
East and West. There's always a big clash in there, so there's always going to have polar views, I suppose. But
Yeah.
I'd expect places like Iraq and stuff like that to be up there.
It's quite nice, Iraq.
After the last 20 years. No, I'm absolutely.
So you're not really hating the country, you're hating one particular person when it comes
It's
to
more
Or
the leaders,
regime.
isn't it?
Yeah, regime,
It's the
yeah.
regimes, really. Yeah. Like I say, most people in most countries are probably absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But, you know.
What if it was geography after all this? We're thinking
be,
about
yeah.
culture and people.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
show up on these studies or surveys, whatever you want to call them. There are a lot of different reasons people from other countries may hate another country. It could be things that happened in the past or now. It could be for economic reasons or military reasons. For whatever reason, people hate. It's just a fact. This is a very interesting list. I found some on the list. They really haven't done anything horrible in decades and decades, but people hate them going back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's really strange. All right, let's see what people say are the most hated countries. Number 10, Saudi.
The UK.
Saudi Arabia, number 10.
Yeah.
How's that number 10? Should be at least number 1.
A lot of people probably don't have experience with it, you know, to hate it. But I think the UK are going to be on here.
Yeah,
the
could
other
be.
side of it is people like Israel. You know, the religious sort of side of the show sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Arabia. Saudi Arabia is an oil-rich country in the Persian Gulf, and everyone's heard of Saudi Arabia. This place is highly dominated by religious laws and go all the way to medieval punishments like stoning, lashing, amputation for thieves. Women really get a raw deal here too, with lack of most freedoms that we take for granted here in the United States that are just part of our normal life. I was reading some of their laws and thinking, why would they stop a woman from doing that? One of their laws that just baffled me, which I knew about it for a long time, I just thought was strange, started reading about it, was women, when they go outside outside the home have to cover themselves from head to toe, including their faces. And they're not allowed to go anyplace alone. They have to take a male relative with them. Could be a brother, could be their husband, whatever. I'm sure that gets old quick for both the woman and her brother, who every time she's got to go to the store, if her husband's working, she's got to call her loser brother to come over and escort her to the store. They got a whole bunch of other reasons that rub outsiders the wrong way here, and that's what gets them on lists like this. Most tourists will tell you that to stay away from this place because it's kind of boring to visit. Number 9, Turkey. Turkey has had a love-hate relationship with the world for centuries. Turkish people are great. I know a few of them. All of them are wonderful people. What's putting them on the list, according to several sources, is their current government, and actually their past government when they were the Ottomans. When you go way back, Turkey is hated because of the Armenian genocide. The massacre was carried out by the Ottoman Empire.
It's one of the countries, Turkey, for me. It's all like gets in the middle of everything, but never brings anything to the table.
Yeah, they're a bit sort of...
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A bit sort of neutral. So I think they're always playing both sides a bit, aren't they?
Well,
really?
yeah, they're right on
pretty...
It's where East meets West, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
The Bosphorus.
They do
hugely, yeah.
They want to join. They want to join Europe
join the
as well.
EU, don't they? But they're pretty pally with Russia, aren't
I
they?
just had the news on before I came in here, and it's that Erdogan's with Putin.
Yeah.
Saying he's got some ideas on peace. Hey, keep your nose out. You're middle of nowhere. You're nothing. You're East nor West.
But that's exactly what they are, though. You don't know which sort of side they stand on, really.
But they don't bring anything neither with it.
No.
They've got a lot of manufacturing in Turkey.
Yeah.
Like they make a lot of weapons out there, shotguns and things.
I suppose
tourism is one of the biggest. I've never fancied it myself, but
I went there on my honeymoon.
Oh, right, okay.
All them years ago.
Yeah.
Started off on the wrong foot, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I suppose maybe possibly a bit like Iran a decade ago, where it was like a liberal Western, Eastern sort of place, if you know what I mean. It was like a melting pot where
back further than a decade.
Well, and you know what I mean though. Like it was a lot more relaxed, and then a regime's taken over that's kind of imposed that will.
It seems to be like a hub for issues. Turkey for me, like a lot of the gangsters are there, a lot of the world troubled people are there, sort of making it all happen in Turkey because it is where East meets West. East meets West.
Yeah,
it is
sort of
exactly.
thing.
So, yeah, spot on.
And resulted in the deaths of 1.5 million people. Armenians, mostly. If you don't know the Ottoman Empire, it's probably because you're from the United States. We kind of just brush over it in our world history, but the Ottoman Empire was basically big in this area, and it all came from Turkey. And I just totally broad brushed that again, but that's give you the idea what's going on there. Although the massacre is widely known, it is still denied by the Turkish government. It's like they know it happened, everyone else knows it happened, but if they don't admit it, it didn't happen. It's weird. Number 8, Iran. I know many Persians. I worked in Beverly Hills for a lot of years, and it's filled to the brim with Persians. Like Turkey, the people are kind, decent, very smart, and friendly. It's their government. It supports terrorism around the world, has horrible human rights record, keeps threatening the world with nukes, and it likes to piss off the most powerful nations on the planet. The people are great, though, and it's not just the United States they like rubbing the wrong way. Everyone. If you're a major power in this world, Iran's gotten under your skin at some point.
True.
Number 7, India. If any country excels in discrimination, it's India. This is one of the main reasons people hate this place. The Indians believe that hating you for your color, race, gender is perfectly a normal thing. Now, I'm not saying all of them. This is just a general feel. I'm sure you could run into a lot of really nice Indians. This, as you could imagine, puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and it kind of keeps them away from visiting India. The country isn't safe, especially for women. They are cracking down on this, but it isn't terribly rare to find out that some woman was attacked by a group of men. For a while there, it seemed to be happening like every week. I mean, brutal stuff too. Not like touching on the bus or something like that. It was ugly. On top of that, they aren't the best neighbors to other countries around them. They have a really bad reputation for that.
Interesting one, India, isn't it? Like a lot
I've
of
been
people.
to India a couple of times, and it's it fucking stinks, man. It does. It stinks bad. If anyone tells you any different, they're lying.
I'm going off one of the looks like a small river or something there before. I mean, it looked pretty hideous.
I'm not sure that's a river, mate. I think that's a sewage line.
The sewage, was it?
Yeah.
Or stream. I thought it might have been a stream or something. No.
I mean, it's a hell of a. What is it? 1.3, 1.4 billion people in India now. Something crazy like that.
Big old population.
I know it's a big country, but
Super 8 billion here. And rush on.
Number 6. The United Kingdom. Yes, believe it or not, the United Kingdom is hated by a lot of people. And it's not so much as what's going on now. They have a terrible past. It's thought by many around the world that the UK is extremely greedy, and it ruled about a quarter of the earth at one point. It was one of the first in the world to bring in a slavery system. It encouraged civil wars, oppressed and looted many countries, and is responsible for the division and destruction of several countries in different continents around the world, and still involved in most of the major wars that happen on the planet. But if you go way back, I mean, look at anything to do with history, especially here in the United States, you could tell England was they were kind of a-holes. And the arrogance they had back in the day about it was just incredible. One of the best scenes, there's a movie called Last of the Mohicans, and Daniel Day-Lewis is just like this scout woodsman, and this British officer, he saves him. And then he's all, how is it you came across this war party of Native Americans that were attacking the British? And he goes, well, we were heading to Kentucky. He's all, why are you heading to Kentucky? All of our scouts are heading to someplace else. And he goes, well, I ain't one of your scouts. And he just, the British officer's demeanor was like, what do you mean? He's all, yeah, I'm just not doing that stuff. Great movie, though. One of the reports I read, there's a big problem with the British. Obviously, they were in India for a very long time, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it seems very interesting, but it's a little more time consuming than I wanted to get into. They say the UK destroyed India and ruined its education system. What'd they do? Like steal all the teachers? What went on there? I got to read about that.
Apart from that, though,
yeah, well, it
can't be that bad because there's fucking boatloads coming in every day. He wants to be here, want to live here in our social system. Right? I love it. People hate us. That's good.
Yeah,
more haters the better.
Well,
jealousy.
If no one's got anything to say about your country, then on the world stage you're just not doing anything.
I don't see queuing up to get into fucking Syria.
No, it's true.
Probably the opposite.
Yeah,
I would guess.
Yeah, I mean we're quite fond of the UK, aren't we?
We are. We love it, don't we?
And it's also worth saying none of us were going and pillaging other countries and stuff. We're talking hundreds of years ago.
It was my dad or my granddad or his granddad.
To be fair, I mean, some of those things were a long, long time ago, which obviously completely different society.
I'm quite happy that people hate us. I'm not asked about that. I won't lose sleep over it, right? But the one thing that the people say to me, right, this is English people, white English people say to me, it's fucking shit here. And I go, move then.
Go away.
Someone said to me a few weeks ago, where would you rather live, UK or New York? Because I was in New York at the time, and I went, no, UK. You went, you fucking mad? So I said, well, you live in the UK. You went, yeah, no. I went, why don't you move to New York then? I went, I can't afford it. I went, you can. So it's people in the same situation as you in New York.
Make it work.
I said, so go and fucking make it work. I said, I lived there for 10 years. I said, so I know what it's like in this area. I said, so, you go and try it.
Yeah.
Ah, well, I've got family in it. I'm like, you're full of shit, mate. Everyone who talks says that full of shit.
Yeah, do it or don't.
Everyone's got an excuse not to go, but they're the first to complain. I should go. I wish I'd gone. And people say to me, you're so lucky that you did what. I said, I'm not lucky. I just got off my arse and did it.
Yeah.
I had no qualms about trying things out and going somewhere new. Don't get me wrong. There's people who say, I don't want to go. I'm quite happy here. Then good for you.
Absolutely, yeah. But
no,
go on.
I was just going to say we get a bad rep because like colonialism has become a dirty word and things like that. But you watch that history of the entire world that we watch, it's been happening thousands of years, and it's like their empire comes, fades. We learned it from the Romans at the end of the day, so blame the Italians if anyone.
The Ottoman Empire was called the Ottoman Empire for a reason as well, wasn't it?
It was because we were furniture, yeah.
People used to rest their feet on them.
But it's been going on throughout history, hasn't
Genghis Khan, you don't hear people talking about Mongolians saying, their empire, spreading their ways, bringing their horses to my country.
Oh, man, yeah.
He killed like a third of the world's population or something ridiculous.
The only thing that's pissed me off about that was being on there at number 6, was being number 6.
Yeah, it should be higher.
Number 2, 1 or 2 I was expecting.
Yeah, we're number 2 and the States are number 1.
Yeah.
Probably accept that.
Number 5, China. China has a lot of people, and they execute a staggering amount of them. They have forced labor camps, ugly history, and cheap exports. They've been accused of currency manipulation and have decided that the island of Taiwan belongs to them. There's always something going on between those two. Some of their low-cost products include medicine and food. On a few occasions, they've decided to use materials that are less expensive so they could drive up profits, make the product cheaper. The downside is this has caused some deaths. That type of thing has gone on for decades with them. So
how fucking busy that place is.
I know.
It is.
The mad thing about China, though, is it's being a communist state, but it is the absolute backbone of
industry.
industry. Yeah, and it sort of bolsters up our capitalism in the West, because it won't work for us without all the cheap imports that we get from a communist country. It's crackers.
The only thing I know about China from being there is it's busy as fuck. You can't go anywhere without fucking traffic being horrendous, people being fucking everywhere. There's nowhere, there's just no space.
People with pangolins in your face.
It's a huge, it's so highly populated, aren't they? Densely populated, the cities and everything.
It's mental over there.
Yeah.
I was watching the Grand Tour, with Jeremy Clarkson and James May and stuff, and they were in China a few years ago. And one of the things Clarkson said was they build, I think, 6,000 or 8,000 miles of motorway in China every year. And he said, wow, most of it's been built in the past 20, 30 years, but they've got more motorway than any other country on earth.
It's probably barely used as well.
They've got towns that are fucking empty.
Yeah,
like
ghost towns.
Like thousands and thousands and thousands of apartments and residents.
Just skyscrapers left, right, so absolutely not just one or two.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all the immigrants and migrants that are out of work and out of houses and shit like that, travelling all over the world, sort of like ghosting all around, pick them up, take them to these towns, fucking let them work. There you go, you're going to live in China, mate. I don't want to live in China. No, tough shit.
I don't think the Chinese want them. No, they're quite racist, a lot of the Chinese, aren't they?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a famous picture a couple of years ago going around of a McDonald's in China that had a sign on the front door saying no black people.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
And that's a McDonald's, for God's sake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Many times they found out some toy that was inspected before, all of a sudden they switched it out to having lead-based paint or something like that because it's cheaper on a kid's toy. As you can imagine, all those things have gotten them on this list. Number 4, Israel. The Israeli people and the Palestinian people have been going at each other's throats for decades and decades. They fire rockets at each other from across the border. The politics and the drama that has gone on here for, like I said, decades and decades is just far too complicated to cover in a 10-minute video. But whenever you have warring neighbors, the one that's usually doing the most damage is the more powerful one, which brings on a lot of hatred. And that's part of Israel's problem. I mean, there's a ton that goes into this, but basically the war that they've had with the Palestinian people and the fact that they're a Jewish nation surrounded by Muslim nations probably doesn't help matters either.
A lot of the nations around them want to eradicate them from the earth, don't they?
Yeah. Because they're all Muslim nations.
Yeah, you get sound bites occasionally, don't you?
Jordan, Syria, Lebanon.
Israel's a complicated one that I don't think we're going to fix today.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I'd be very surprised.
I've never been
beyond us, that one, I think.
It looks nice.
I've been all surrounded. I've been Syria, Jordan, Lebanon. Never been to Israel.
I've
weren't allowed on your passport. If you had a stamp from Israel on your passport, you weren't allowed in any other countries. It's changing a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to have 2 passports.
I know a few people who went to Tel Aviv a couple of years ago, and there's beautiful beaches and stuff.
Yeah,
it looked like a really nice place to
Haifa
go.
and all around there. It's supposed to be nice. I've never been, so I can't comment.
Number 3, Russia. Russia has a history of being aggressive to its neighbors, not just in military terms, economics, hacking, forcing a bunch of countries to join the Soviet Union, and before you say it, yes, some went willingly. At least the people in charge went willingly. It's really hard to find average Joes from the old Soviet Union that were on board with this whole operation. Russia likes to create conflicts between major nations of the world, which is designed to be beneficial to Russia. They like to kill people that disagree with them, no matter what country the person happens to be standing in. You know, like Russians go someplace else, they've been talking to the media bad about Russian government. Next thing you know, they've been poisoned with uranium or something weird like that. They're right now in the news because they've jailed an opposition leader that's been on a hunger strike. This isn't the first time they've done that either. All those things and some other things make Russia one of the most hated countries on the planet. Number 2, the United States of America. Yeah, you heard me. My country, our country, if you're watching from the United States, is the second most hated country in the world. Now, it's hard to believe if you're from the country, much like if you're from Russia, you're probably, wondering why people would hate Russia. That's just how things are. We're kind of designed to be that way. The United States of America is hated by many because of its vast military and economic power over the rest of the world. And that's just a fact. We've been involved in so many different conflicts which have just angered people from the areas and in the countries that the conflicts happened in. There are a lot of cases wondering why we got involved. You would probably have to go back to the Korean War and World War II to find a time that we were truly justified by going to war there, and the people are probably happy with it 90% of the time. I mean, the people from those countries. But considering we've been involved in all these conflicts, we are one of the wealthiest countries on the planet, and we have the largest military, it's hard not to be hated by third world countries because of that.
I wonder if because the culture's exported so much around the world that they're just more in the conversation than a lot of other countries as well.
No, it's jealousy. Same as anything else that goes with it. You speak to anyone around the world, speak to someone in Afghanistan where they've been at war with them for years and years.
Yeah.
There's been a war going on. It's not just America that was in there, but it was other countries.
Yeah.
But if a lot of them blame on America for different things. Go to Iraq and go down and say, I hate to America. I hate America.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you say, here's a green card, mate. Do you want to go and live in Michigan? In the nice land? Okay. And next thing, fucking packing all the shit up and
away they go.
Away they go. So I'll take it like that in a flash, in a heartbeat.
I suppose a lot of countries you've got to toe the political line and you've got to say the right things, haven't you?
Of course.
Because if you're there saying, actually, I quite like it, friends, Chandler Bing, then you're probably going to
spilling your shit all over.
Spilling my coffee. But you probably get. What else am I going to do with it? You probably get shot. Is my point. If there's ever time for me to spill my drink, it's while I'm going Chandler Bing.
It's put me off in train of thought. But not really. If you sort of like, if you're pro whatever, you're not going to be pro. You're not going into the streets and sort of like talking all kinds of pro-American, pro-Western sort of like propaganda. But what I'm saying is, you ask anyone wherever they live, it's just pure jealousy and it's pure ignorance and it's pure fucking propaganda on the country that you're in.
Yeah.
That's telling you America's fucking bad, America's this, America's
they do
that.
this, they do that. This is why we're in this position.
But trust me, you walk in hand with a green card and go, do you want to go and live in Chicago? Oh, fucking yeah. Where do I sign? And all of a sudden they've got the fucking, top hat on with the, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it seems like how they dress in Chicago.
It seems like
America.
the war with Russia and Ukraine now. I mean, Putin invaded Ukraine. We're doing nothing, but then he's blaming the West and NATO and the countries like that
himself on,
because he's messed it up. So he's just trying to blame everyone else now. So he's going to the people and say, "Oh, listen, it's not us." It's but that's the same thing like saying about hating America and stuff like that. It's pure jealousy, and they want that as well, but they can't have it.
How many people try and get in America every year through either illegal immigrant or legal
thousands
immigrants?
Must be at least thousands.
Yeah.
What's going to be number one though?
North Korea.
Ooh,
you think North Korea? I'm not going to go with North Korea. I don't know what.
Canada.
We've not had it.
Switzerland or Canada or Wales.
Switzerland just go.
Scotland.
Switzerland just go under the radar. They just fund everyone's wars and reap the rewards of it.
Got to be North Korea.
You would think so, wouldn't you? It's
just constantly poking the bear, aren't they?
Who's not been on it?
Nuisance. North Korea.
I mean, there's some countries that have had genocides, haven't they? Like
Iraq,
like Rwanda,
Africa,
and
maybe.
In Africa, maybe an African country.
But I suppose it's continent. What would you can't
you'd have
really
to
say.
pick a country in Africa, so someone like the DRC.
It'd be somebody that's poking the bear all the time, which is
North Korea,
isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I was going to say somewhere like Somalia, but because of all the troubles with the piracy,
that was
Africa and things like that. But
just a small little bracket, a small little time zone, that wasn't it?
Yeah, true.
So many other things for all these, really, not just the United States, but for all these countries, there's thousands of other reasons people might hate that country, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of them in the comment section below. Keep in mind, before you tell me I forgot something or I didn't include something, this is a 10-minute video. I'm not going to get to everything. I'm just kind of giving you an idea, but it is a very interesting subject. It's worth doing some reading on. And before we get to number one, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link down below. We'd love it if you went over there, watch a couple videos, maybe subscribe. All right, on to number one.
Drum roll, please.
And number one. North Korea. Who didn't see this one coming? When you put as much effort into hiding what is going on in your country as North Korea does, what's going on isn't good. North Korea has been a big pain in the ass to everyone for a very long time.
It's a weird way to dress your choir, isn't it?
Yeah.
We know their people are starving, jailed, executed, they disappear in the middle of the night, and they're subjected to an insane propaganda program. They're told that their leader doesn't have to use the restroom because he works so hard for the North Korean people that he burns off all the calories he takes in, so he never creates any waste.
That's why
they also tell the people of North Korea that he has to take phone calls from other countries to solve problems that other countries can't figure out. They also have their own Netflix.
you imagine if that was true?
I know, yeah.
Just think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the genius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's got it all worked out. Yeah.
First thing, they'd be like, fucking, you know, I know you're giving us all this information, Mr. Unn, but you need to get that fucking haircut sorted out, son. Because it looks shit.
Did you see when there was a barber's in London offering that haircut? Wasn't there? There was a big poster of it at the front, and 2 representatives from the North Korean embassy went there to complain and say it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
People aren't allowed this haircut. There's a big thing about it.
Be funny though, wouldn't it, if he was the one that was right?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
Knockoff called Man Bang. I'm not kidding. It's called
What's it called? Man Bang.
Man Bang.
It's
They're
the
Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Oh, God.
You're Out. They also have their own Netflix knockoff called Man Bang. I'm not kidding. It's called Man Bang. I don't even know how to explain they came up with that name, but it doesn't mean what it sounds like to Americans. I'm sure it means something
quiet it
different
is.
to them. This is a streaming service that has 3 channels, 2 of which are government news channels filled with nonsense, and 1 channel that shows government-approved movies only. Those who live in the country suffer from restrictions of freedom as their internet access is heavily censored, poor infrastructure, low standard of living, and the reason they're all poor and their infrastructure is crumbling is because they put all their money towards nuclear weapons. This is an obsession with the North Korean government. It threatens the world with nuclear war like on a weekly basis. They have an aggressive attitude towards neighboring countries, and this has caused them to be pretty much isolated from the rest of the world. And people go on to believe that they're just totally evil, which I'm sure the people are just fine. It's just their government is just whacked. The outside world knows very little of what's going on in North Korea. Every once in a while, we'll get someone that defected over, they finally got out of the country, and they just tell us horrible things. I remember there was this soldier that jumped across the border not too long ago. He was starving. He had seeds from trees in his stomach that he just couldn't get enough food, so he was actually eating these big seeds that weren't digested, and it was kind of sad. All right, that's today's list. Hope you guys got some information out of it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's kind of weird, and it's really weird to have to say that, yeah, the United States is one of the most hated countries on the planet. I love my country. It's just, you know, I had to go by what the survey said, trying to give you guys the most accurate information I can. Don't hate the messenger. All right, everyone, have a...
That was good.
Yeah, it's a good channel. I like that channel.
Yeah.
It was really good.
But I don't hate anyone. I don't know, it's
Live and let live.
cyclists, that's it. They should put all them in North Korea. Let them have as much cycle room as you want. There's loads of fucking no traffic on the
plenty
road
of
there.
space
Plenty of
there, isn't
space. Come fucking cycle all you want over there.
Unbelievable.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's just, I remember, I think the BBC went to North Korea 10, 15 years ago and filmed like a government-approved people following the reporter around and
Dennis
stuff.
Rodman.
It wasn't Dennis Rodman, no. But he went in a museum and they're taught that they put an end to World War II.
Really?
Yeah, they stepped in and ended it. And it's like that's, but they've all got radios in the house on all the time, and it's like government messages.
Government propaganda
Yeah,
all
it's
the
like,
time.
jeez.
I guess if someone starts talking that
Wow.
much shit around you constantly, you start believing it.
Well,
Yeah.
probably kids are brought up to believe it, aren't they? You know, from early age. That's
believe your
probably all they
parents,
hear,
don't you?
isn't it?
Indoctrinated.
They won't be able to get the internet, will they? Won't be getting Google and stuff or news from around the world. It's just exactly what they want to hear.
No.
So
They can get
Pretty
all.
sad, really,
They
but-
can get all the man
Man-banging
bang.
they
Man
want.
bang. Yeah,
he might be onto something, eh?
yeah, it's crackers. I mean, we should have done better than 6th, though. That means people are forgetting about the Empire.
Yeah.
That means we
Yeah.
really are fading into obscurity.
Bring back
at
the
number
Empire.
6.
Eh? Oh man,
Yeah,
no, it's an
disappointed.
interesting video though.
Can't remember who was above us now. Israel was above us.
Yeah, I get Israel being on there because it's people fall out just the debate between Israel and
It's a
Palestine.
religious war,
like-
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember someone getting angry at me once when we were talking about it, and I'm like, I don't really understand any of it, but I'm just trying to see both sides
it's
out
so
loud.
it's so complicated, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
and they were
really,
like,
really
how
is,
could you possibly, not denounce this side or that side or whatever?
But if
And I
there was no
like,
religion, what would we argue about?
We'd find something. It'd be land grabs. I mean, it already is. I think religion's just an excuse for
Well, it's-
land
it's a-
grabbing.
It's a reason for probably 99% of wars, isn't it? Religion.
I don't think it is.
Don't know.
I think we'd be doing it without religion. I think it's an excuse for most of it.
Maybe religion was brought in to fucking calm it down.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Thou shalt not kill unless it's pre-approved by the government and it's at war.
Anyway, fuck all in 10
interesting
countries.
Nice.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next
Cheers,
one.
guys.
Cheers.